Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Jono the Eternal Optimist, and I am joined today by one of our players, Key.
Hello, everyone. Excited.
What will you be playing for our campaign?
I will be Nyx, the Kitsune from the Makoto clan. I am the next heir, and I think my parents are pretty cool and amazing. I also have a caretaker named Jiro, who's pretty wise and respectful, and I admire him very much.
We just did a little warm-up test scenario, and Nyx was able to experience their first ever cloud step because the Kitsune's powers are based on the number of tails that they have, and acquiring a tail is very difficult. Tails will form naturally on a Kitsune over the course of their life, but usually this is only like a couple, like 2 to 3. However, tails can actually be stolen in the form of jewels between Kitsune, and the ability to gain more than the usual amount is possible, and with that come other abilities. Nyx's parents each possessed 5 tails, which is the strongest that the Makoto clan has ever been. And, well, it's been a long time since they ever had 5 tails, let alone 2 members having 5 tails. And so because they had 5 tails, they can use the cloud walk ability, which allows them to gracefully dance among the clouds and travel great distances, as Nyx just found out.
My parents are so cool, guys. You don't understand.
Yeah. Your dad is the sort of strong, quiet type, and your mum is also the very graceful but elegant as well. Like, just, yeah.
She could just
awesome.
walk across the room and be super elegant and graceful while I'm like running out of breath, tripping over my own feet.
You were a child. How many tails do you currently have, Nyx?
I have 1. Finally.
Okay. You got your first
Finally.
tail. Oh, right. Let us also briefly inform the viewers of the clans. So,
Oh dear.
in the Celestial Den, there are 3 top clans, the 3 sort of ruling clans, which are the Tsurugi, the Konohine, and the Raikashi. Beneath those 3 clans, they have what are called Kenja clans. So they're like first level clan. Then below the Kenja are the Ryoma, which are the sort of second level clan. Nyx is from the Makoto clan, which is a Ryoma, to the Tsurugi clan, which basically means that the Tsurugi control the Ikari, and the Ikari are the Makoto serve the Ikari in that sort of order. And for the way that it works with this clan system is that if anything were to happen to the Makoto clan involving the Kenja of a different group, whether that's within the same like organizational structure or in another ruling family's structure, the Ikari are meant to come to the defense or political assistance for the Makotos, because the Makotos are directly below. If something were to happen between the ruling clans, then basically all the clans underneath that ruling family get involved. So as you can imagine, it's quite precarious and a bit of a gunpowder type situation. So without boring you too much on the politics of the Celestial Den, the most important thing to know is that Nyx and their parents answer to either the Ikari or the Tsurugi. Those are the 2 authorities above. Whereas they will show respect to the other Kenja of the Tsurugi organization. So, yes. Without taking up any more time, let us get started. Right. You hear the sound of the rain, even through the protection of the pelican that you're traveling in. The various servants of the Makoto house are carrying you and your parents to to the Ikari household, which is not too far from your home, and so your parents don't want to cloud step and arrive exhausted. You've only ever cloud stepped once in your life, and you think back on that memory because you've had dreams of flying ever since. The sensation has never really been forgotten by you, and you kind of look forward to the day where you might have 5 tails and be able to do the same whenever you want.
One day I'll have 5 tails. One day I'll just cloud step on my own this time. One day.
You hear Jiro leaning forward, who's walking beside the pelican that you're in, and he basically reassures you and says, of course, Master Nyx.
Thank you, Jiro.
You can see that You can see that he's because there's little slats in the box to let you look out as well. And, you can see that he's carrying an umbrella, and his two tails are shielded by it. And so the escort of the entire group carries on forward through the rain. And after a couple of hours, you eventually arrive at the household of the Ikari. Now, their village is quite larger than the one that you're from. They are a Kenja level family. They essentially have the prime real estate with this fantastic view of the mountains. Their mansion has this incredible views out towards the ocean in the distance, but also the greenery of the mountainside that is more facing it. This is actually one of the Ikari's vacation homes. They're like vacation villages. Their main fortress is actually on the other side of this mountain, which is closer related to the river network over here, as well as all the trade that comes from the farmlands in this area. So yeah, you can see that they out of the Kenja that have sworn fealty to the Tsurugi, the Ikari are one of the wealthiest. You arrive and you're greeted by the servants of the Ikari household. They busy themselves welcoming everybody in, especially your parents, who are the first to enter into the Ikari household. They head straight to the greeting rooms, and you and Jiro also follow suit behind them. Give me a perception roll.
Okay.
You see a young man who is busy practicing his sword swings in a section of their garden. When he notices you looking at him, quickly has a realization and immediately runs back inside.
Oh, I wonder who that was.
He was topless and practicing in the rain. He was practicing his sword swings in the rain in the back of the garden.
Shirtless, yes.
You'll continue forward through the house, and you can see that this holiday home, this mansion, is extravagant in a way that is only rivaled by the Tsurugi fortress that you visited many, many years ago. You think back to the time where you were asked to look after Iwanami at the Tsurugi fortress, and it makes you wonder a little bit about how the sheer differences there are in this world between you and your parents, between the branch family members, Jiro and you, between you and the Ikari, and between you and Iwanami. And it just makes you realize like how stifling all of these structures and systems and placements are really.
So many structures and systems and formal greetings and higher ups and lowers. And there's so much going on, and yet this is such a small island, and I want to know what's really out there. Is everything different out here compared to?
Who knows, maybe it's also just as stuffy and complex in the rest of the world. But these thoughts, you can't linger on them for long, because the entire group has made its way to the welcoming room of the Ikari. You see a singular man, and he's also bearing 5 tails, so the same as your parents. However, he sits solely in the room, and you notice that the seat next to him, where his wife was expected to be, instead of the usual seating, there is a mat that is black, which indicates that his wife has passed away.
Oh no.
And yet there will always be a seat at his side for her, whether it's in this life or the next. As you know, the concept of love in the Celestial Den is the highest form of expression, especially given the religious order of the Yuiko. The aspect of taking a partner is no small deal, and it's expected that even after a partner passes away, that they hold a space for them.
There's always a space for them in your heart.
It does happen that sometimes Kitsune will remarry, but in the political scene, it's very much frowned upon, which at the same time, as you can imagine, causes a lot of fragility with regarding to heirs, because if a clan leader doesn't have many children and then one of the partners passes away, that leaves a room of opportunity for branch members to potentially inherit the family. And you just feel this overwhelming pressure of all of these systems and structures being put in place, and you can understand because you've been educated on this by your parents for etiquette reasons and whatnot. But
such a sad, and I think while it is beautiful that you have to keep your lover within your heart and that is your only lover, it's still quite sad that you can't produce an heir after that. But I think it's also nice to give other people a chance at power in a way, especially if you see the other branch members hopefully as your own family. Then
yeah, your character looks towards Jiro while having these sort of thoughts. Jiro has been your caretaker since birth. He has always been at your side, ready to assist in any way, and the few times where he hasn't been at your side, it has always been in service of you and your family, and to ensure the happiness of you and your family. Your relationship with Jiro is complex in the sense that they're as kind as a mother, they're as dependable as a father, they're as reliable as a best friend, and they are also as close as a sibling. You know, it's a complex relationship that you have with Jiro because he has literally held you from the day that you were born.
Jiro is family to me.
Because your parents are also, they have their face to present to everybody else, there is not much opportunities for you to fully express yourself to your parents, but Jiro has always been there for you. So whenever you've had doubts or difficulties or troubles, Jiro has never not had time to everything that you needed to let out. So yes.
Jiro is literally the best ever.
Exactly. You are sitting there and your parents bow towards the Akari, the head of the Akari, and he also bows too, but nobody is saying. You are seated next to your parents, and Jiro has stepped back to the furthest reaches of the room. He is still there, but so is everybody's servants. All of the other servants are there in order to make sure that they can step in if needed for whatever reason, whether it's to serve tea or whether it's to fight. Who knows? That's the unpredictability of the clan system, is you never know what could happen. So everybody has staff present. Love. And you sit there awkwardly. Give me a composure roll. Nice, very nice. Your training that you've gone through your entire life with your parents follows through, and your character patiently waits to allow the Akari leader to make the first move in the conversation. You notice that even he is starting to get a bit irritated, which makes you wonder what the heck could be going on. But it doesn't take long before you hear a sliding door sort of slam open, and a young man dressed in fine clothing rushes in, bows to the Akari head, as well as to your parents and you as well, before quickly taking his seat at his left side of Ikari. Deceased wife's seat is to his right, and this young man is to his left. You notice that his hair is wet, as if he had just been training outside in the rain.
Wait, is this emo Sasuke from outside?
He bows profusely in front of you and your parents as you are guests, and he apologizes to his father, and he says he was so focused on his training that he wasn't aware that the guests were arriving. His father grumbles and punches the back of his head lightly, and also apologizes to your parents and you for making you wait. And then the two of them sit upright, and he says, "This is my son, Akura Akari. He's one of my heirs, though his younger siblings are not for meetings like this." And you can imagine he's got very younger siblings as well in the household somewhere else. So he's the oldest child with quite a gap. That also means that his wife may have passed away recently. So
there's plenty of heirs.
You think back to Iwamari and at least Iwanami, and at least you don't have to go and play. I mean, you don't have to go and play with this guy like before. You're old enough now that you being in your 20s now, you're seen as a viable adult And the only thing that you're missing right now is experience, for which this meeting is one of them. As your father accepts the apology from the Ikari and essentially says, as agreed, I want to present to you the next heir of the Makoto family. And he gestures towards you and says, this is Nyx Makoto, and I believe that this is the first time your son Hakura and Nyx have met each other. You see there's a bit of awkwardness in Hakura's expression because he doesn't want to be here. Clearly, he feels like this is like a waste of time because, you know, he could be actually training rather than being here.
Training in the rain.
Exactly. He wants to make his father proud is kind of the feeling you get. Oh, by the way, he has 2 tails. And he's about 2 years older than you would assume. You would guess roughly 1 or 2 years older than you.
I must. No, I must go on my own training arc.
What do you say to Hakura and to his father?
Of course, I would say my own greeting. Hello, nice to meet you. I am Nyx Makoto, my family's next heir. It's a pleasure to meet you. While also trying my best not to stare at his 2 tails.
Don't worry, he's not at 3 tails yet.
Not.
So he eyes you up and down as well to evaluate you. And he basically very politely also says, it's a pleasure to meet you, Nyx. And I look forward to us working together for the betterment of the Tsurugi, that should the time come that you can call upon me and vice versa for the betterment of our territory and land. You see his father nods in approval, like, yep, that's the correct thing. And your parents also are stone-faced in also just, this was the expected answer, right? This was the only answer that would be considered acceptable anyway. Yay, lots of talking in circles.
Politics.
So I will skip the politics parts for you because we don't need to sit here and discuss the trade situation between clan members, but essentially both parents of the clans start discussing all of the responsibilities that you and Haruka would be expected to inherit, all of these headaches in the future.
Yay.
So disputes, farmers, villages having arguments.
Inherited responsibilities.
Exactly. Tensions between the other clans from the other structures, all of this sort of talk. But you can feel after several hours of this, your legs start to ache from sitting in that position where you are on. And your mother notices this after a while, that everyone in the room is a bit exhausted from all of the talking. Several cups of tea have come and gone since the start. And so you notice that the rain has also started to ease up a little bit. Now, your mother makes a suggestion that we have a light break and maybe some entertainment. The Ikari head laughs in approval. He agrees, and he says, since we have both young heirs with us here today, why don't we try and kindle a healthy rivalry, is the way he puts it. But you notice immediately that Hakura stiffens up when he hears this. How do you respond to this?
Oh, this is going to be interesting then. A rivalry of sorts? But I don't know, I'm ready for a challenge. Anything to get out of the seating position and stretch my legs a bit.
Your parents and the Ikari head leader stand up, and then you and Hakura also. They lead you to a different part of the back gardens, not where Hakura was training his sword. You see that it is a shooting range for the bow and arrow. The servants who are on the corners of the room listening to everything, actually have already arranged a set of bows and a quiver of arrows each. You're about to go into a shooting contest with the heir of the Ikari.
Now I see why he stiffened up a bit, because, oh god. Well, this is going to be interesting.
The father definitely knows how to punish his son for being late. If it had been sword fighting, I think you would have been in trouble, but because he was late...
Fair competition now.
He took so long to actually get ready. This is his punishment, is that you are not facing him against something that he's actually that good at. You can kind of get a feeling for this by the body language that he's exuding. Give me a composure check.
Composure check.
13, perfect. Your parents' training is coming through just fine.
I have awesome parents. That's
Yeah.
why.
So how do you want to play this? Because the two of you are standing next to each other. The parents can't hear. They're busy talking to each other while waiting for the two of you to get ready. Do you want to initiate conversation or do you want to keep quiet?
Let's initiate conversation. I want to know why he's training out in the rain and why he was so focused on training while forgetting the meeting.
Okay, then role play it. Let's go.
Weren't you the one I saw earlier training in the rain with the sword and shirtless?
Yeah, I don't know if you've actually done much training at home, but when you're training with a sword, one tends to get a bit sweaty. So yes, I was shirtless in the rain. I wasn't exactly expecting guests today, nor was I expecting to go into a shooting contest. You can tell that he's not angry at you. The way he's talking is like his head is like looking towards his. You can feel like the anger is not directed towards you, but is directed towards his father. Okay, so how do you
Why are you
respond to this?
training so much anyway?
He looks at you and raising an eyebrow as if that was really such a question. And he's like, because I'm an Ikari. And he said, and one day I might have to come in and save your life.
Who knows? Maybe I have to save your life one day.
He actually enjoys the fact that you're quipping back because he's used to everybody going, yes, sir, thank you, sir, good job, sir, good job. The only person who actually gives him like difficulties is his father. To see this young head who's supposed to be a Ryoma speaking up to a Kenja level family member like this is fresh. You can see that his enthusiasm to actually compete with you now has improved.
Great.
Right. So you can hear both your fathers have taken their seat and your mother is also at your father's side. The servants have brought out another set of tea, and there is a servant waiting at the far end of the archery range to record the points as well. You know what? We're going to do it at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Your parents and his father are going to take turns. Each of them has a fan in their hand. And when one of them drops their fan, like flicks their fan, is when the two of you are meant to shoot. So you can see it from your peripheral vision. That when you see the motion of the fan is when you're meant to fire. Okay, we're gonna roll at the same time, and I'm gonna do the public rolls as well. So we're gonna compete against them. Okay.
All right.
You're holding the bow. Give me a stamina roll.
All right. Ready?
Okay. You notice that neither your parents nor the Ikari family leader are actually swinging their fans yet, as they are initially testing your pull strength. Now, your arm starts to wobble. As you're waiting for this, and you can feel the arrow that your accuracy is getting worse the longer you have this bow drawn. You notice that Haruka is holding perfectly still, like he's holding his arm, and you can see, you get the sense that same sort of look he had on his face when he was training before, when he entered that deep focus, has taken place. And are you ready? Have you got the dice roll ready? Because your mother's fan drops.
Okay.
Your arrows hit their targets on the other end. We're just going to use a 1 to 10, so we'll halve those. So you got 7 points and he got 9 points. Despite the wobbling of your arm, you actually landed much better than you thought.
Oh.
Okay.
I just psyched myself out for a bit, maybe.
We're going to throw another one. Are you ready?
Yes.
You're
let's
holding.
Go.
You're holding, and thankfully you don't have to do a stamina roll because Ikari decides to allow both of you to shoot soon. So his fan drops now.
Oh my god!
He critically succeeds.
Does he?
Yep.
Are you sure he's good at swords? Maybe he should go into bows and arrows.
So you notice that Ikari is also surprised at his son's skill, and Haruk's his face is deadpan. Despite landing a perfect shot in the center of the bullseye, he shows no emotion when doing so.
He's too focused.
All three have lifted their fans again.
Right.
Give me a stamina roll. Okay, his stamina is also wobbling now as neither of them. Also, are you adding your dexterity to these rolls, by the way?
Oh, I haven't.
What is your dexterity?
Isn't it?
2. So we need to add 1 point to each of yours. So you have 8 and 7 points. He has 9 and 10. Not too far behind. He also rolled really badly on his stamina now. So you can see his arm is really wobbling from that. So it looks like he starts off strong, but he might need to improve his stamina. Get ready to roll because your father's fan has dropped down now.
Wait, do I have to add a...
Nope, just roll.
Okay.
Nice. Plus 2 to yours, so you get an unnat 20, so you get 10 points.
Nice.
Not a perfect bullseye. And he got 8, which means that currently there's a 2-point difference between you. There are 2 arrows left.
Oh,
So there are 2 more shots. Okay.
it's anybody's game now.
Yep. All 3 have lifted their fans again, and the moment you notch your bow, Kari, the father, drops his hand, and this catches both of you off guard, and you have to immediately fire because both arrows fly wildly. You get +2, so that's 10, and we'll round down. So you get 5 points, and he got 3 points. So you are now even.
Oh my gosh. This is really anybody's game.
Yep. And now for the final shot, the arrows go up. You know what? I'm actually going to make that the arrow shot.
Are you kidding me?
I like this story too perfectly.
Oh my god.
Oh no, yours just etches out because you get +2, so you win by 1 point. You got 35 and he got 34.
That's insane. That's insane.
Haruka actually can't believe it, and he trudges across the shooting range to actually look at the arrows indented in the target. And for a moment, you give me a perception check. So was that a crit fail?
It's a crit fail.
You don't see anything about him or how he feels or what's going on there.
Thank you, dice.
Your parents and Ikari are both very impressed with the outcome, especially the fact that both of you were able to land your shot despite the sudden demand to fire. Showcased that both of you were able to act quickly even in unexpected situations, such as a surprise enemy attack. Ikari himself actually mentions this, where he's saying that he was impressed. He was saying you never know when you might actually have to take another life, and the accuracy of which you both exhibited during that moment satisfied him. You see that this is not enough to make Hakura feel better, because he's still lost to somebody who's supposed to be working for him in the future. Yeah.
I told him maybe one day I might be the one saving his life.
Do you say this to him? You can if you want. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a charisma check. For a moment, you get this horrible feeling in your gut. You've just offended the Kenja that your family had sworn fealty to. But in fact, he actually bursts out laughing, and he approves of it thoroughly, and he essentially says, I expect you to take good care of my son. He needs more people to tell him how it is, and not what he wants to hear.
Nice.
With that done, the group returns to the sort of meeting room, and you push through with the rest of the politics stuff, and then have a very nice dinner. You notice that Haruka essentially is no longer like looking at you or even wanting to talk to you. He's pouty. He's pouty, okay?
It made him mad. He's brooding. It's okay.
After the dinner, you and Jiro are shown to the baths. Obviously, Jiro doesn't join you in the baths. Like, it is your private time. I assume that you want to bath alone. So.
Yeah.
And so while you're soaking in the water and just taking in everything, because it has been a busy day, not only did you have that contest with the arrows, but also just all the discussions and politics, and you never realize just how much responsibility it is, even to simply be a Ryoma. And it kind of again makes you think about Iwanami and whether her life is even more complex, being what is essentially a princess.
I wonder if she has to deal with the even worse stuff and worse expectations. I kind of pity her in a way.
You soak in the bath for a good while. It's incredibly relaxing. Like, again, the Ikari family is exceptionally well off, and this is their vacation home after all. So it's an exceptionally large bath with an incredible view of the sort of farm range before you, and in the far distance you can just barely see the coastline. You can see for a great distance. It's quite the view. Yeah, give me a perception roll. You hear shouting, and you're not quite sure whether you should get involved or not, but this is now something you have to decide.
What if I don't get involved, but should I at least listen to see what's going on? I don't want to put myself into.
You listen, and you can hear a familiar voice, but you're not quite sure. You're not entirely sure who it is. It may have been someone who was traveling, one of the servants traveling with you. It could be your father, or it could be Jiro. You're not quite sure, but you recognize at least one of the voices in the distance.
Now I want to go check it out.
Okay.
Let me see what's going on. That means I would leave the bath.
So you leave the bath and you get dressed pretty quickly. You can hear that the noise going on is getting worse. You quickly try to put on the ceremonial garb as fast as possible, and again, you hate how long it takes just to simply get dressed for these sort of like mini rituals of like visiting this family. But by the time you finally get everything dressed, you also head out to find the source of the noise. You're not alone in this. You notice that quite a lot of people have come to find out what the heck's going on, and you see in the garden area, there is a large gathering of people, and standing there, give me another perception check.
Oh my god, the dice hates me today.
The first thing your eyes discover is the source of the familiar voice, and it's Jiro on one knee in the courtyard where Haruka was training, and you see he has a large cut across his chest. It's not deep, but you can't tell from this distance. What do you do?
Oh my god, I can't. Try to push through the crowd to see what's really, to get a closer look. Oh my gosh.
Do you just get
Jiro.
closer, or do you run straight to him? This is the person
I run
who's
straight to him.
You force your way through the crowd. You don't really care about appearances at all in this kind of situation, so you just shove whoever it is in your way out of the way. As you push through the various servants of the house, you just dive into Jiro's arms to see what's happening, and that's when you finally notice not only has Jiro been injured, but he's also missing a tail.
No, Jiro! Jiro!
He still has one tail left, but when you whip around to see who it was that stole his tail, you see Haruka standing there before you holding a sword in his hand, and he now bears 3 tails.
No. Oh, no.
He's not even looking at you. He still is holding his sword and pointing it towards Jiro. You're not even visible to him in this current moment.
Oh my
His eyes are laser focused on Jiro, and you can see that there is a rage in there that you didn't think was possible. What do you do?
Oh my gosh.
You only have a few seconds.
Oh my gosh. No. Jiro, what happened? Did this punk challenge you? What's going on? Speak to me, Jiro.
Master Nyx, you must not get involved. This was my fault. I thought I could. No, just stay. He's completely unmoving, and even the other servants who are sort of like begging him to put away his sword, because clearly whatever the duel that just happened is already over.
Haruka, what's the meaning of this? Do you really?
His eyes finally lock onto yours. This man insulted me. He insulted my family. He didn't know his place, and so I challenged him to a duel for which he was unable to refuse, and this is the result of said duel. Now all of you get out of here. And you see a lot of the sort of other servants starting to back off. They've just received a direct order from their master, so they are all dissipating. But you can hear the familiar footsteps of your father and your mother approaching, as well as by like right behind them is Ikari as well. Right now, Haruka has his sword pointed towards you and Jiro.
Oh my gosh. Do I make a scene or do I call him out?
What do you do?
Tell me, what did Jiro even say to you?
Before you can even finish that sentence,
oh my god,
Ikari walks across the room and slaps his son across the face, absolutely dropping him to the floor, which stuns both him and everyone else. Even your parents are absolutely shocked by this. For the briefest moment, he looks down at his son with like pure disgust. Is this how the future head of my clan is going to treat their guests?
Oh my god.
Now, Hikaru, for the first time in his life, stands back up and challenges his father. If a guest were to spit on you and insult you, what would you do then? And he looks at you and Jiro. Is this true? And you see Jiro's eyes flicker to the floor and said,
oh my gosh,
not entirely. And you see Hikari is getting like irritated by the roundabout answer. And he looks at your father and mother and order this man right now to explain what happened. At this point, Hikaru tries to jump in, but his father grabs his own sword, which immediately shuts up Hikaru. Haruka, sorry.
Jiro, please. What did you tell him? What did you say? You can tell me anything, Jiro. What happened?
Master Nyx, after I left you to enjoy your bath, I thought maybe I could soothe over any potential tensions left over from the archery. And so I sought out Master Haruka. And when I found him training here, I offered to try and discuss things over to ease any potential misunderstandings. And he took great offense to that. And he took it too far, insulting not just myself, but your mother, father, and you as well. At which point, there was no other choice for me but to defend you and the Makoto family. He says, I may have spat in the floor in my frustration, but it was never directly at him.
Jiro, no.
Your mother takes a deep breath because even though Jiro was in the right for defending you, slipping up just once in such a way was enough to justify a duel of this, especially from a branch family member of...
That's higher than us.
Yes. Because
Oh my gosh.
yeah, under this circumstance, guest or not, Jiro in that one brief moment crossed a line that he should not have. If he had been able to have maintained his composure, then Hikaru would have been the one that would have been punished in this situation. Hikari himself, though, basically yells at Haruka to return to his room and apologizes to your parents and to you, but not to Jiro.
Oh no. Oh no.
As you're returning to your room, is there anything you want to say to Jiro?
Jiro, I'm so sorry. If this whole clan system didn't exist, I know you were trying to protect us, Jiro. You didn't do anything wrong.
No, it's
Jiro, I'm so sorry.
no, Master Nyx. It's my fault entirely. I should not have overstepped my boundary. I should not have left your side. I should have waited outside that bath. I shouldn't have approached Haruka at all to begin with. You can see he's really struggling to reveal this. It was something he didn't even tell them when under order. But he looks at you and he says, "You've told me so many of your secrets. I guess it's only fair that I share one of mine." After you defeated Haruka in the archery contest, I overheard him telling all of the other servants about how you cheated. You shot your arrows slightly earlier than the fan drops before. And it was an insult that I just couldn't handle.
What?
And I thought maybe I could convince him to not spread such malicious lies, especially since all of our families are supposed to be working together. But I guess a branch member of a Ryoma trying to tell him what to do was more than he could handle.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
No, you mustn't do anything about this. Thankfully, it only ended with me losing one tail. It's
Thankfully,
okay.
you still lost a tail to that punk. All because you called him out for his lie.
But remember what I've told you ever since you were complaining about not getting your first tail. We are born without tails, and most of us leave without tails. What's more important is about the families.
Jiro, let's get your wounds treated right now. I
Yes.
don't want to think about this anymore. I don't want to think about that punk and what he did to you.
I agree. And you see one of the servants from the Akari house leads him towards the bath. They have a medical kit there as well. So he's going to soak the wound to wash it out, and then they will treat him.
Meanwhile, I'm pacing back and forth, trying my best to keep calm.
I can
and
feel
not,
your anger.
We're not trying to challenge this. Ugh.
I think he took losing pretty badly. However, what ends up happening over the next few days, things seem to go as normal. And when you return back home, you can see that Jiro's wounds were treated well enough. And over the next few weeks, you spend your time just recovering from that event, just trying to let go of this burning anger. But unfortunately, peaceful times don't stay for long in the Celestial Den, and a conflict breaks out between the Ikari and the Daichi family. It's the Haruki has asked for the Ikari's help with dealing with the Daichi. So your clans are up here. Conflict, or a border conflict going on between the Kenja of your structure and one other structure. There is the potential for this to start to escalate.
No.
Thankfully, the Tsurugi have not been pulled into it yet, but basically the Akari have asked the Makoto and the Sakurai to join them in helping the Hakuri and the Hikaru face down the Daichi and their Ryoma. Your father and your mother want you to join as well, because this will be your first experience of a battle.
Time for battle, I guess. I do still have some steam I guess I need to blow off, and I need the experience. I need to get stronger.
Over the next few weeks, all of the soldiers and your parents and yourself and Jiro, this is your first ever battle now. What you see are the fighting soldiers, Kari, the Makoto, the Sakurai, Haruki, the Hikaru, the Daichi. So you guys outnumber them 5-3 armies. However, they are on an entrenched defensive position. So they have a slight advantage.
I see.
The Akari clan leader and Haruka are in the strategy tent, as is your mother and father, and the other heads of clans from the other ones. Due to the bad relationship that you and Haruka have, the parents deemed it wise to exclude you from the strategic talks, even though it's not your fault.
It's not my fault, it's his fault. He ruined everything.
Jiro tries to reassure you, saying that it would be better. There would be no way I would be allowed in the tent anyway. So would you rather spend time with him or with me?
Jiro, of course.
He knows how to make you feel better. He knows exactly what to say. Reassuringly, Jiro has sworn not to leave your side during the battle as well. He promises that he would rather lose his life than see you pass away before his eyes.
Jiro, best friend and family ever. Best friend and family, Jiro.
The armies are standing there, but armies are expensive. They eat a lot of food. So you can't afford to have a siege. In order to break their entrenched position, something needs to be done. And you're woken up in the middle of the night and told to put on your armor. Your parents, the Akari clan leader, Hirok, and several other members of the family who have 3 or more tails. Currently, there are only 3 people who have the 5 tails, which are your parents and Ikari, the Akari clan leader. But the rest have 3 or 4 tails. That's it. You were summoned specifically because your parents want you to witness what is about to happen, what their military strategy is to do. There was an intense debate between the Akari and your father about this, but your father couldn't argue too much against the Akari, since he swore fealty to the Akari. You are to be at Haruku's side and protect him.
Oh, this is coming back to bite me in the butt. This is coming back to bite me in the butt. It's too hellish.
He is not pleased either, not because you're there, but because Jiro is there with you.
Oh my gosh.
Jiro, on the other hand, is perfectly fine. He doesn't care. He doesn't have any bad feelings towards Hiroku. His only concern right now, he's putting all of his thought and effort into making sure that you get to see the sunrise.
Oh, Jiro, you're good. You're such a good best friend, caretaker, and family, Jiro.
So your parents and the Akari leader place their hands together in a very familiar manner. You remember it from the first time you ever cloud step, and the 3 of them are facing each other, and you can feel the spirits in the air building as they are preparing themselves to cloud jump. This is the middle of the night, by the way. It is a partial moon, so there's not too much light to see, but there are some clouds in the sky. You try to wonder what the heck they're planning on doing. While they're concentrating on this, Hikaru leads the ground forces under the cover of night, and begrudgingly, you and Jiro have to stay right by his side. As you're walking through the night, he doesn't have a word to say to you, but when he gets to his position, he looks at you. Don't die. He places his hands together in a different shape where his fingers interlock and his thumbs pressed together, and you can feel the spirits rumbling from all 3 of his tail. Within the gap of his hand, a small blue flame appeared. He keeps it covered and contained within his hands to not reveal its light to outside. You notice that the rest of the 3-tailed Kitsune that are with your group are all doing the same as well. And suddenly, the entire night sky is illuminated by the blue foxfire of the 3 5-tailed Kitsune drifting down from the sky as they rain 5-tail level fire down on the defensive encampment. At the exact same time, Haruka and the 3-tailed foxes the 3-tailed Kitsune on the ground release their Kitsune fireballs and project it in a straightforward. So it's a 2-pronged attack from the sky and from the ground. So a horizontal and vertical attack landing on the position where most of their forces were asleep in the middle of the night.
That's so cool.
For a brief moment, the entire landscape is covered in this blue, rich blue and azure hue.
That is so cool.
Followed by the scream.
Of course, this is battle.
Bells are ringing. Soldiers pour out of the defensive horde as they run straight towards the Three Tails, desperate to fight back. They are aware that this is the most powerful unit of your army. And if they can strike you down while you guys attempted a sneak attack, if they can take out as many Three Tails as possible, this will severely weaken the entire army for a more decisive battle later on, if they can survive the night. All of the soldiers start pouring out of the forest to swarm the group of Three Tails that you're in. Give me a dodge roll.
Okay, let's go. Battle time.
14. Very nice. You dodge the arrow that flies right past your ear. You dodge the first arrow that flies through, and you see a desperate-looking soldier, like with one tail, bursting forward, and immediately takes a swing towards you. What do you do?
Oh my gosh.
You have a chance to counterattack before he has a chance to, because he...
Can I counter?
Yes.
What weapons do I have right now?
You're carrying a katana. You're in your armor,
can I counter with a katana?
Yes.
Okay.
Give me an attack roll and use your dexterity and strength. Okay, your swords clash against each other, and you manage to block the attack. Jiro wastes no time as he cuts the throat of the soldier.
Let's go! Go, Jiro!
Give me another dodge roll. Perfect dodge.
That is crazy.
You managed to dodge a sort of a spear.
Ah, that one.
Naginata, yeah. So you managed to dodge this spear of a Naginata that wasn't actually aiming for you, but was actually aiming straight for Haruka, who had actually dodged it, and it was heading straight towards you because of the angle.
Oh my god.
I will give you 2 free attacks on the holder of the Naginata. So you can
Plus
do 2 rolls.
dexterity?
You can do 2 rolls at the same time here.
Okay.
I'll give you advantage. How about that? Roll 2d20, and then whichever is the highest one will add your. Okay, so you managed to perfectly dodge around. You not only jump over Haruka, but as you're coming down, you drive the sword straight down the closed neck part of the armor of the soldier who held the spear.
That is so cool. This is so cool. This is so cool.
You hear him mutter under his breath, "Not again," because you one-upped him again. Not only did you dodge, but you dodged. Okay, you see 3 soldiers now are approaching you on that side. They're all bearing like 1 and 2 tail. There's 3 of you as well. Everyone else, all the other 3 tails from your side are busy like fighting or shooting fire and everything.
All right, it's time to take out these guys then.
Okay, so in that case, I want you to give me a dodge roll first, so that you can counter and then parry. Okay, perfect. And now attack. And now attack. Nice. I'm gonna give you a bonus from that fantastic dodge that you did. You take off the hands of the one soldier that was facing towards you. Jiro locks swords with one of the other men, as Haruka is pushed back by the looking guy who was in the middle. It's very clear that these 3 are focusing on Haruka, as they have identified him as the sort of prime target. So the biggest guy went after him. What are you going to do? You've taken out your guy. So what are you going to do? Protect Haruka or Jiro? Jiro is holding his own. Haruka got pushed to the floor.
I might as well give Haruka a hand. I'm doing this for his father though. While he's focusing on Haruka, can I like attack him?
Yes.
I think I should.
Then what I want you to do is to give me a stealth roll, and then we'll see if you can do an attack off of that. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay.
He does not see me at all.
You know what? I'm not even going to make you have to roll for that, because basically you're landing a perfect crit, and you're basically taking off the big guy's head, who lands on his knees in front of Haruka.
I'm just one-upping him again. The dice just wants me to one-up him every time.
Oh no.
No?
You look back and you see Jiro has managed to take out the guy that he was fighting with. However, a arrow hit him in the back of his shoulder.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Can I see where the arrow came from? Can I at least see who's the archer is?
No, it's in the middle of the night. You have no idea where the shot came from. It's the chaos of the battle. Yeah. You can try. Give me a perception roll. You're gonna need to roll really high here though.
Okay. Oh shoot. Okay. No.
No, you can't tell. It's not enough. However, despite his injury, offers a hand towards Haruka, to help lift him up. Haruka hesitates for a moment, but realizes that this is not the time to act like a child and really accepts the hand up. He immediately places his hand on the arrow sticking out of her shoulder, and Haruka yanks it out. How do you respond to this?
Oh my god. What are you doing? He's gonna bleed out because of that.
He needs to be able to swing that arm of his. And you see Jiro is actually able to move his arm now again. The arrow, removing the arrow, freed up the movement once again, even though he is bleeding. He still sort of shoots you a look, just basically saying, is this your first battle or something? Which it is.
Still
Give
went
me
up
a dodge roll. A blue fire from the enemy's fortification rushes out and causes all three of you to throw yourselves to the ground. You land hard and knock your head. Thankfully, you were wearing a helmet to protect yourself, so you didn't take too much damage, but you can feel the heat in the air, and you can smell the burnt hair of some of your one tail. Give me a perception roll. You hear the sound of hooves.
Hooves? They're coming on horses?
Let out a emergency cavalry charge in order to try and run down the three tails before the rest of the standing army, because the army on your side is also now rapidly approaching now that the battle has begun, but they're basically sending out a cavalry charge to try and take out as many of the three tails as they can before they can sync up with one of the cavalry units that comes through grabs Haruka and Jiro. You manage to just barely dodge, but I'm going to give you one free attack on one of the cavalrymen that's not carrying them. Nice. You don't even bother to look whether the person has died or not while their body is falling towards the floor, and you're now mounted on one of the horses chasing after them.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
God damn, you're a whirlwind of death. Holy. Okay, give me a horse riding skill.
Okay. Are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
I'm just doing this to show off now.
Okay, you start catching up, and you're now riding side by side while you see an unconscious Jiro and a bleeding Haruka on the side, like being held down on the back of the saddle of one. You notice that his eyes bulge wide in absolute shock as he's witnessing you galloping up towards him through this battle, weaving in between the battle while Foxfire is flying through the air.
Jiro. I'm coming, Jiro. And Haruka, I guess. I'm coming, Jiro.
You are now neck and neck, and I'm going to give you some options here because you got a crit success. I will allow you one jump attack, or I will allow you to steer the two horses carrying Jiro and Haruka. So scare the horses that are being ridden by the enemy. I'll give you that choice. Do you want to have one leap attack, or do you want to scare the horses?
Let's scare the horses. Let's try that.
Okay, so you dig your heels in extra hard, and the horse that you're riding starts galloping forward. And it also lets out a bit of a scream, which spooks the two other horses next to it. Your horse is leading in the front, and you steer it towards the groups. Your sword clashes with the rider next to you, and the sharp sounds is enough to push all the horses over the line, and it starts steering them towards a cliff face. So the horses, realizing that there's a sudden drop come by, try to hold themselves while you're clashing swords with the guy who's holding Haruka. Give me a sword roll. That's it. Your swords clash to one another, and you get a small cut on your arm, but it's not enough to hold. It's not enough for them to hold you off. The horses themselves start to freak out, and the horse carrying Jiro and that soldier, in its panic, it falls over and tumbles. The soldier that was holding Jiro, he flies off the cliff. However, your horse and the horse of the guy that you're fighting managed to come to a draw, and Haruka also falls off of the horse, landing near Jiro.
Okay.
The cavalry guy immediately digs his heels into his horse and charges straight at you.
Let's go. We're javelin this time. We're going through.
Give me first a horse riding skill.
Oh
yeah, no. Okay, so give me give me an attack with advantage. So roll 2d20 and take the highest one, and then add your deck. Even though you matched on dice roll, he edges it out, but again you get another cut, but this time it's on your leg. You can see the visible frustration on him that this youngster is not only besting him in horse riding, but also is proving incredibly difficult to put down, as he's only been able to put like 2 small cuts on him. He's wearing the crest of Nobu, so he is a Ryoma like you for the Daichi.
Oh.
This is either the head of the Nobu or the heir of the Nobu, one of the two, and you can see he's not happy. He also recognizes you, with your crest on your armor as well, and he sort of spits on the floor and charges again.
Oh, we're charging again too.
Okay.
This is not. Huh?
Horse riding skill
Ugh.
plus your wit, so 16 to his 18. So, okay, now attack rolls. You don't get advantage.
Oh
my god! Give me.
Oh my god!
You slash at his leg while dodging his sword, and you actually cut the saddle off of him, and he drops to the floor, and his horse basically rushes off into the distance. He scurries over to Haruka, who has a broken leg, and he holds his sword at Haruka's throat.
Oh my gosh. Guess I have to go save Haruka now.
Perception roll.
I guess I'm gonna have to stall.
What you remember of the Nobu clan is that they are famous for their sake, for their drink.
Yeah, we could just, just leave the battle and have a drink. There's plenty of sake over here.
Are you out of your mind? As you see his sword like pushing against the skin of his neck.
I'm trying.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I might as well just take action because I don't think talking's really gonna do much in this battle.
What do you want to do? You're on horseback and he's on the floor with his sword to your lord's throat.
Can I aim the horse at him and jump off? So he'll be too focused on trying to dodge the horse.
I'll be
charging it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I'll give you an instinct roll. Even though you weren't succeeding your perception rolls, you also remember that you're not the only one here.
Jiro.
Yes, your eyes look up to Jiro and you see that he has been slowly crawling toward the Nobu head.
If I could just get him to focus on me.
Give me a charisma roll.
Okay.
Maybe insult his sake.
I'm gonna try to keep distracting him so Jiro can get closer to him. Your sake is absolutely garbage. I don't even see why would anyone drink that. I'm sure my family would make better sake than you. We don't even make sake, but we probably make something better than yours.
You see his sword lower for a brief moment as he's starting to ready himself to shout some insult back at you, when Jiro's sword pierces through his throat and he's unable to finish whatever sentence it was that he was about to start.
Jiro for the win! Jiro! Let's go!
Haruka is cursing you can't believe as he has his broken leg. Give me a dodge roll. A huge fireball from the Nobu clan. When they saw their clan leader being executed because he was the leader of the cavalry unit, and when their soldiers saw you chasing after him and dispatching his guard as part of the cavalry unit, that they were sending over their spellcasters as well to try and intercept. A huge fireball is racing towards you three from all directions. None of you rolled well on your dodge roll, so Jiro grabs you and Haruka and throws the two of you off the cliff.
Oh my gosh.
You start falling down the cliff, and when you look below, you see basically the ocean.
Oh my god, I can't swim!
Just give me a stamina roll. This is more for constitution. Oh, you hit the water and pass out immediately.
Yay, trauma. Yay.
You wake up a few days later on a boat. You don't know where you are or what's happened, but you do see Jiro at your side. And give me a perception roll.
Oh my gosh.
That's
the dice
fine.
hate me
As
with
long as it's not a
perception
crit
rolls.
fail. As long as it's not a crit fail, but you can see he looks very pale and very sick.
Oh, Jiro. Jiro.
You're on a boat, and Jiro explains to you what happened while you were passed out. He dragged the two of you because Haruka couldn't swim with his broken leg, and you were passed out. So he was trying to hold all three of you up in the ocean while the waves were rushing at you. This is where Jiro was placed into in a sort of hopeless situation. When you got to land, he had to choose between you or Haruka, and he chose to leave Haruka behind.
Jiro.
Not because of the grudge of him stealing your tail, but in order to get you to safety. Haruka was able to carry you to a nearby port, and he smuggled you onto a ship that was passing through. It seems to have been a foreign ship. You're not sure. Even Jiro's not sure which nation or who it is, but he was able to sneak the two of you inside. But because the two of you are in hiding here, he's unable to treat his wound. You realize from the shakiness in his voice that these are his final moments. And
Jiro!
he wants to just spend the last few moments that he has with you.
I want to at least try, because he at least saved my life. I should at least try to save his, even though
Okay, give me a perception roll. It doesn't look good. When you look at the cut from the sword, also notice that the arrow wound in his back is infected, and the sword wound that he has caused him to lose a lot of blood. And even though he's tried to stop the bleeding, but with his cloth, he needs stitches. He's lost a lot of blood, and he's already got signs of infection in his shoulder blade. You're worried that... Actually, give me an intelligence roll. No, you think that maybe the arrow itself was poisoned or something. But it does not look good. It's okay, Master Nyx. I told you before the start of the battle that I was going to make sure that you got to see the sunrise, and I'm sorry for not waking you up in time for it, but I assure you, if you peek out this window here, you'll be able to see it was the next day. He laughs a little bit as he chuckles.
Joe, please stay with me. Stay with me like you have always stayed with me. I can't imagine my life without you. You've been here since as long as I could remember. Please, Jiro, just stay with me. We'll go to town. We'll find something.
Master Nyx, you must go. You must be free. If Haruka survived and has been captured, then who knows what might happen to you if you were to return.
I don't care about Haruka. I care about you. You're my family. You're my best friend.
And I always will be.
Jiro!
I'll always be. I'll be there with you. But you're finally free. Like, you can go and explore the world. I always wanted to view it myself, but I could never get off this island. Just look at us now. You and I on a boat. Finally free of all that nonsense. You can see that he's exhausted, he's tired, he's been bleeding out, and you can see that he's not in a good state. He looks at you and he says, I couldn't save your swords when you fell off the cliff as well, and he takes out one of his, because he only had one left after falling as well, but also another short sword that he describes came from the Nobu head. Like, when he stabbed the other guy, he grabbed one of his swords to replace the one that he'd lost. He puts them both into your hands and he says, you have to promise me that when I go, you throw me overboard. You can't be found until...
Throw you overboard?
My master, a rotting body is easily found.
Jiro, I can't even bury you. Not until we get to land.
No, I'll become one with the sea. And if I see any abyssal down there, I'll give them hell for you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything, Jiro.
You see he leans against the window and he seems relieved that you agreed to everything that he had to say. And you realize this is the first time he's ever given you an order. In all the years that you've known him, since the moment you were born, he's always listened to what you've said or followed the instructions of your parents and you. Never once has he told you what to do. And for the first time in his life, he's told you to really throw him away.
Why? Pain.
Give me a composure roll. You gotta try and fight back the tears and the noise.
I don't know if I can fight back the tears.
No. You sob.
Nope.
You sob
uncontrollably. Of course I do.
You sob uncontrollably as you scream into his clothes.
Gripping the swords tightly, he handed me a knife. Jiro! No!
You feel his hand pat the back of your head as it then slowly slides off and he stops breathing. And that's where we're gonna call it for today.
No, you ended on a tragedy.
Yep.
The next episode should be right here. Thanks for watching.